Yeah, the crowd goes wild.
It's time for another weekly Q&A, and this week Natalia writes, I'm a Christian, however my son is not. He has recently announced that he's getting married with a Christian girl. From my conversation with the girl, I learned she's a very devoted Christian. I think she might be a great influence for my son, and I hope that through this marriage he will come to know the Lord. I'm not sure how to best support them, as I've heard it many times that a Christian should not marry a non-Christian. What do you think about interfaith marriages? Have you seen them work? Have you seen them destroy people? Let me know what insights you have in the comment section, and I'll get to my answer in just a second. But just so you know, my name is Amie. This is Ask a Christian. It's a YouTube channel and Facebook page devoted to authentic discussion about Jesus, the Bible, Christianity, and the Christian lifestyle. And if you have a question for me, you can hit me up at askachristianfriend@gmail.com. One more announcement. I do want to let you know that I've got some space in an upcoming 4-part lecture series I'm doing on Zoom. It's all about how not to read the Bible. If you think you might be interested in that, I'd love to have you. There's more info in the description section and in the slide at the end of this Q&A. All right, back to you, Natalia. I can definitely hear and feel your mother's heart and your concern. And you're right. We have all gotten the don't be unequally yoked discussion from our churches, especially I think for those of us who grew up in the church, we heard it a lot. And it just makes sense, right? It's logical because the more deeply held and important to our worldview certain issues are, like religion, of course, and our political views, our conversational styles, our philosophy on money, things like that. All these things can either be huge points of harmony and beauty in relationships, or they can be the things that cause the most strife. Please forgive me for assuming, Natalia, but I take it from your verbiage of your son's recent announcement that your son has not included you in his dating life and his dating preferences, and that this is coming as a little bit of a last-minute surprise to you. If that's the case, your influence in this situation is probably pretty limited, and although your concern is legitimate, it's probably coming a little bit too late in this relationship for you to vocalize it freely and also still really be included and welcomed in the couple's decision making. So you're definitely in a sticky situation. So I've got 3 simple suggestions that I hope not only apply to you, Natalia, but to other people who are wondering about interfaith stuff and also just those other areas we talked about where a couple could not be really matched up and you're worried about it. So I'm going to speak to you, Natalia, but hopefully other people can apply this as well. Number 1, continue to be intentional about getting to know your future daughter-in-law. Ask her what she thinks that you can do to be a support to their family's kind of spiritual development. I'm sure that if they're getting married, your son is not completely closed off to the idea of spiritual participation or maybe even spiritual ritual like church going or prayers over the family. So just asking your future daughter-in-law what she thinks is going to show her that you're on the same team, that you're not coercive, but that you're there as a support. And that's going to mean a lot to her right off the bat. Number 2, set yourself up as a long-term influencer by just being helpful and loving. If they're close by, meeting them for dinner or especially cooking them a home-cooked meal is such a great way to start creating that atmosphere of love and support and providing a safe place where spiritual discussion, not even necessarily Christian spiritual discussion, but spiritual discussion can take place. It would be such a blessing. Besides food, there are plenty of ways that you can look to be a service to them as they set up their new household together. And if they're not close by, I promise no one is ever too old for a care package. Number 3 is to help them understand their values overlap. And they've probably done a lot of discussion and talking about this, but it's something beautiful and ongoing that you can be a support in. Of course, this is a little bit more pointed and should only be attempted through prayer and after you've kind of earned that respected audience status with them. Specifically in this case, try to figure out if they've already done some formalized premarital counseling, and if not, try to steer them towards that. Prepare and Enrich is a curriculum I really enjoy, and this is something that can be done after marriage as well to strengthen their marriage. So don't necessarily try to push it. This is the kind of thing that takes a lot of prayer and discernment to know when to bring it up. You may even want to offer to pay, or you might just want to lead out in discussions of that value overlap around the dinner table. Either way, formal or informal, helping them to see where they agree and get excited about it is a huge service and a huge way of loving and supporting a couple. Natalia, we don't envy you because you are in a really strange spot where you love your son and you want the best for him, you want the best for his new bride, but you haven't really been invited into their circle yet, it sounds like. And so you're kind of carefully treading on how you can be helpful, how you can be an influence without being overbearing. And your prayers, your caring, your witness, those things are going to shine through as long as they're not coercive. One final word of caution before we go. You can overdo it. You can try to get so involved that you end up pushing people away and they think you're nosy and a busybody and all those kinds of things. So just err on the side of caution. Wait till you're welcomed in and make small gestures and hope and pray that they are reciprocated. I'll be praying for you. Thanks again to Natalia for asking the question. Join me next time when we talk about why the Bible can't be just another book. What is special about it? That's it for me today. I'm wishing you joy and peace for your journey, wherever it leads you. See you next time. Let her know that you are already